We're being joined right now by Professor Ken Ife, who happens to be an economist, one of Nigerian finest economists and energy expert, who will be helping us understand this quite critical question. Should Nigeria leave OPEC at this point in time? Prof, a good day to have you on the show, sir. All right. Prof, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, go. Okay, sir. Interesting. Thanks for joining us on the show today, Prof.
Thank you for having me.
So, I'll throw the question at you, Prof. Has been asked and has been said across Nigeria. Should Nigeria leave OPEC at this point in time?
Without further delay. Let me take you back a little bit. OPEC was formed well before, I think in the 60s, earlier than that. But what happened was that in 1974, 75, I remember. And what makes me remember was because it was my final year in the secondary school, 1974. There was a national essay competition about OPEC. And I wrote that essay, and I won the national essay competition. Now, what that makes me, I can't forget about OPEC if I did that earlier on in my life. So what happened was I began that essay by quoting Henry Kissinger, because Henry Kissinger was attacking the OPEC, that this is a cartel that is now going to influence the price of crude and that they're going to the price up. And then he actually said something. He said, do we work together? Do we pull our strength together and progress together, or test our strength and fall together? That was the quotation. So the crisis, they were now thinking of military action. And then at the same time, they were now raising also, what about copper union? How about food? So America and all these European countries came together to say, we're going to fight this, but on the other hand, we have to make sure they don't come to food. So they started subsidizing rice, sugar, soya beans. Those products till today that are being subsidized heavily is a counterforce to what happened in OPEC. Now let's come to the OPEC. The only way America resigned the use of force was because they went into the petrodollar deal, where America said, okay, you know what, you can sell your gas and oil as long as it is in America. Buy and sell in American dollar. That's number one. Number two, use what you can, your surplus, invest it in our treasury bills and all that stuff. Americans, so they were buying, you could see that they are the biggest investors in America. Number three, we will offer you defense. So that's why they built all the outposts in every country there. Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, UAE, all over. And these are American defense forces. A lot of them. So, but then things have started changing. Crude, Saudi Arabia is selling crude to China in yuan. The things are changing. And we're no longer talking about unipolar world, we're talking about multipolar world. BRICS have come in. Things are changing dramatically. But let's get to the bottom of this. OPEC was useful because we were new boys on the block coming in to sell our crude. Always impressive for you to join a club and then get as much high price as you can. But that is a business based on crude. Today, the business is not just crude. If you look at the profile of what is going on in that Red Sea, that area, and then the Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz, all the things there are natural gas and crude. There are some refining, but that is not the major business there. So, but when you come to Nigeria, our major business is tilting away towards refining sovereignty. NNPC has ceased to be our model anyway, because they have allowed 4 refineries to go dead because of the macabre dance they are having with OPEC. They are so entrenched in this OPEC shenanigan that they allow all their refining capacity to die. Now, we now have the new boys on the block, Dangote and all his modular refineries and everybody now refining. So Nigeria has got a strength now as a refining. Do you know how much Africa spends on buying imported refined petroleum products? $100 billion. Now, $20 billion goes to just PMS, of which Nigeria was using half, 10 billion. Now, all of these equations have changed. And then it's not just Dangote that is now doubling his investment from 20 billion to 40 billion, 650,000 barrels a day to 1.4 billion barrels, million barrels a day. But you have BUA doing 200,000 barrels a day. You have $50 billion investment heading into Ondo to do minimum of 50,000 barrels a day. And you now have NNPC wanting to come back now to with some Chinese companies to get back to at least 300,000 barrels a day. So you can see that the quantum of crude required in the next 2 years will be between 2.5 to 3 million barrels a day. Now, two things are critical. It means that these people are going to be looking for their crude. And all of them may not be as strong as Dangote that is importing crude from anywhere and everywhere, from America, and then just recently now, just last week, what do you call it? UAE has sent him 2 shiploads. So more are going to come. Okay, now, the issue is this. Why would we have crude oil in Nigeria and huge refining capacity is going to come, requiring 2 times more volume, and all the things they are looking at is, will OPEC allow us to increase from 1.8 to 2.5? That's nonsense. We're not going to talk about that. Because the business we are doing now has nothing to do with OPEC. OPEC should go, should blow it away. Let me put another one. Now, NNPC will not be in a position to provide enough crude that will be required by all of this. Why? Because they've already encircled the 455,000 barrels allowed by OPEC, and they're massaging those. Each time Dangote Group asks them about this 4.5, they say, forget it. So now the issue is this. Many investors in upstream, you can see the success on the licensing round. Many investors who are active in upstream crude supply and operation will want Nigeria because they will do it in Nigeria and they will be refined locally in Nigeria. It will be cheaper for them because they will produce here, they will invest here, produce, drill, and then they will be picked up immediately and refined. So they don't have to incur additional cost of shipping their stuff thousands of kilometers away and other stuff. So, but they will not invest in Nigeria because they are worried about OPEC slamming down on their output, saying you can't what? They have no more place in our economic calculus. That's the simple point. And then
interesting there from Prof talking about Nigerian exiting OPEC because of some of the stringent measurements that OPEC normally bring, particularly on the stability
those
of crude
international price benchmarks.
Now, Prof, we are hearing you.
Look at Angola. Look, Angola got out. Angola now, the government gives the refiners the price that they can live with, and their petrol PMS is $0.33. Our own is $0.8. Ghana is $1.3. The other people, like Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal, are $1.7. Our own is even much lower than Ghana because Dangote is putting 20% subsidy on the PMS. And they're now giving you CNG infrastructure, transportation infrastructure free. It would have been much, much higher than that. But if you get OPEC out of your way, the government can say, okay, though these are our local refiners, I'll give you the crude at $60 or 65. After our benchmark price in our destiny is 65. Or you take it at 65, but make sure that Nigerians are buying the fuel at 800 or 750 or 700 naira per liter. That is the local deal. But if you want to export, you can export it at any price you like. Do you understand? So that is the argument.
Interesting. You just made mention of Angola right now. But for UAE that just exited about 2 months ago, what lesson can we learn from UAE exiting OPEC? Because for them, they wrap up their exiting on national interest. Can Nigeria also build its own argument on that aspect?
Is it international interest?
No, national interest of UAE.
No, I'm coming. No. I'm asking you, how would you describe the interest of $20 billion refining capacity in Nigeria, increasing to $40 billion and another $50 billion and other stuff? $100 billion are being invested in refining capacity. Is it international interest? It's national interest. There's no greater interest than Nigerian national interest to have investors or bring this magnitude of money into your economy. So the thing is this, our interest in doing this is even higher than that of UAE. UAE, part of their problem is that Saudi Arabia is controlling this whole thing, doing over 6 million barrels, and then making sure that others don't do more than 2 million, 3 million, and Nigeria 1 point something million. So they're fed up with all that thing. It is clear to them that they're not going to have their way with Saudi Arabia. So they decided to go. But our case is built on refining, value addition. I can hardly understand why God has blessed you. God is not sleeping. God purposely gave these 44 solid minerals to Nigeria, gave you crude and gas, so that you can refine this, add value to them, and feed your population and grow your economy. But what you are saying is, no, I want to take it to somebody else. Let him, I will export it, exporting jobs and importing poverty. How can God give you wealth and then you prefer poverty? I don't understand. You give it to somebody else to refine for you, and then you kill the ones, the industries that are here already to refine. And what kind of economics is that? So we are, and then second, another area is this. Nigeria should stop lamenting. We should stop reading from the book of Lamentation on what is going on in Strait of Hormuz. What is your business? We have no business with Donald Trump and the Israelis and the Iranian in their palaver. We will have no business with that. Because the reason is this. The only person that is making money in all of this hula baloo is Donald Trump. You've seen his returns. He's making a lot of money. He now says publicly that $28.5 billion is what America is spent on this war. But America has not told us that America, from all the things I'm seeing here, may have issued contracts, may have contracted defense contracts worth $2 trillion to provide a defense equipment as a result of all this. So you can see they're bleeding these companies, these countries in the Gulf, they are bleeding them to death. There are more and more equipment, more and more this military hardware. So where is that going to end? So Nigeria should focus on competition, draw the attention of the world that we have a Gulf of Guinea that is equally important and even more important, because it starts from around the area of Angola, coming up to Cameroon, Gabon, then comes through Nigeria, and all our littoral states are oil fields. And then in between, gas. Then you have Equatorial Guinea on the left, and then heading down to Ghana. And Nigeria owns the territorial shelf from Cameroon to Ghana, because we are in charge of the territorial shelf of continental shelf, of Togo and Benin and Nigeria. So we have business there. We should be promoting that. And then if you now come to the Nigerian littoral state, you see massive concentration of refining power. You can only compare that to Texas, where you have 32 refineries and nearly 5,000 petrochemicals. So that's a different kind of business, where people will come to get crude, but in fact, even more refined products. So that in that way, we are more important than the Gulf of Hormuz, all that shenanigan going on there.
Interesting. Prof, for those who are against the argument of Nigeria exiting OPEC, they have raised the question that if we leave, there are more risks that are going to be confronted than the benefit that may come on the long term. They are making mention of the infrastructural deficit in an oil and gas sector. Even though you have made mention of the likes of Dangote, Smith, the refinery that's coming up, and others across the country. But the people against Nigerian leaving OPEC are saying we are not yet there because of our deficit infrastructure. But what do you make of that argument from the side of deficit, oil and gas infrastructure in Nigeria?
That argument is baseless. It's absolutely baseless. Let me tell you why. One, OPEC does not buy our crude, neither does OPEC sell our crude. It's just a gang that is telling people, don't reduce your production so that the price will go up. And they don't know, okay, you can produce more so that the price can go. That is what it's doing. It doesn't buy or sell our Nigerian crude. OPEC doesn't lend us money to build any factory. If anything, there's complicity between them and NNPC to kill our refineries so that you can export those crude to constituencies that will process them and bring back to you African blend. And you better go and find out about African blend. That is substandard petroleum products, where the sulfur content is above 50 ppm. Some of them are 1,500 ppm. Is absolute pollution of our economy. All right, keep that aside. Now, what is the OPEC plus? Russia, all these other countries that are in OPEC plus. What relevance is OPEC to them? They're doing their thing. You know, they are buying and selling, investing as they like, and don't have anybody breathing down your neck, telling you what quantity to produce and what not to produce. And they're scaring away investors who want to come in your upstream and invest huge sums of money. And they link it to the local production capacity for refining. So, it's completely outdated. It's no longer relevant to what the country really needs right now.
Interesting. Now, Prof, from all you have said so far, it seems there is a horizon of opportunities if Nigeria exits OPEC. So what are the future of Nigerian oil and gas sector if by now Nigerian government decide that we are leaving OPEC, just like Angola left and just like UAE also left? So what are the opportunities for Nigerian oil and gas industry, as well as the future prospect of the oil and gas industry for Nigeria?
You are going to get a massive explosion of investment in our downstream and midstream sector. Massive. And then you're also going to have massive investment on the upstream, because the upstream is the one that gives you the product to refine. So you will now unlock the lock jam. Well, let me tell you what, NNPC will never agree that we should leave OPEC, because it is one instrument that they use to intimidate the president and everybody here. Oh, OPEC said this, OPEC said that. Because one of you had been Secretary General or something at some point, and then you think OPEC is up. OPEC is absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Is just, you don't need it. You don't need it, because this company is we're heading to $1 trillion economy, and then tell me how OPEC will help you. OPEC will block you. It won't let you do all the things you want to do. And they're not giver. They don't buy your crude from you. They don't sell your crude from you. What is it? It's just to police you and then prevent our government from taking, because let's look at why are you having price of petrol over 1,000 naira? Simply because OPEC is insisting on that price of $77, $80, all that stuff. And then you cannot give the crude to local refiners at prices less than the market price. But the government could say, get out of OPEC. Look, I want to give this crude to you at $60. Prepare this, refine it, let's have it, to roll it out at 700, 800 naira to people. Is a deal, it's an internal domestic deal. And then if you want to sell some crude outside, you can sell it at whatever rate the market gives you. So that is the point. Your population is suffering because OPEC membership is, okay, look at your gas. Your gas is the same thing. Now you are giving your gas to your power generation companies at an international benchmark price. So, but when you have total control, you will give the, and then because they are getting it at $2-something per cubic feet, look at how much they're selling the power. You are paying 209 naira for band A, and you're not getting the power. 20 hours a day, are you getting 20? Tell me where in Nigeria where you're getting 20 hours a day of electricity. Yes, you are paying 209. And then they'll tell you they'll bring reform. Where is the reform? I mean, this is all totally, but you have to exercise sovereignty over your natural resources. God gave these things to you. So you should utilize them, you should improve on them, add value to them, and feed your population and grow your economy. And stop all these appendages to power and all that stuff. They're not going to help us.
Interesting. Prof, if you have the opportunity or the hearing or the audience of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu now, what will you tell him to do so that we can quickly, fastly exit OPEC?
Okay, first of all, I will ask the president to please sign a bill that has been sitting on your desk for more than 9 months. And what is that bill? We have a 30% mandatory value addition bill that says any raw material in this country should not be exported without adding minimum of 30% value. Immediately, that takes care of crude oil. All right? Now, secondly, all these raw materials, see, we've been doing this, in ECOWAS for more than 15 years. Most of all our, even Ghana is doing 50%. Now, 30% is our value addition rule of order in ECOWAS region, beyond which you can now be eligible for ETLS, and then goods will move around, refined goods move around the whole country, the whole region, tax-free. Under the Africa Continental Free Trade, it is 40%. So you can understand why Ghana has jumped to 50%. And are you telling me that Ghana is not doing well? Go and look at Ghana's exchange rate. They come down. Ghana has repurchasing their gold. I know that sometime in the past, CBN was purchasing gold, and then who should do more gold refining, more lithium refining? CBN should buy back the gold that are refined and then put them in our reserves. That is a stronger backing for our naira rather than dollar. Do you understand? Let's take the necessary steps. You're losing about $3 billion on racketeering going on in gold mining here and there in Zamfara, wherever it is. Can you get half of that money, half of that gold into the gold reserves, into our reserves? You see where naira will go. Naira will quickly return to 500 naira to a dollar. Look at Ghana. Their cities have come back, and then the inflation dropped to single digit. So these things are not rocket science, because you can see the comparison. But vested interest in our country will not let you even have a look in. So that's the nature of the vested interest in our country. And it will not stop us from talking about those. So that's the first thing I'll ask the president to do. Release those. Okay, now look, I was involved in national development planning, and we're looking at this figure. We're only getting $6.1 billion from non-oil export. If that non-oil export, what's the maximum that it can go by 2030 in 4 years' time? Let us say that it doubles. Okay, let's say it triples, 300%. That is still 20 billion. Are you with me? Even if it multiplies by 600%, it is 40 billion going to give you $1 trillion economy. So I want you to see realism, because look away from oil is what I call is a racket, telling you to look away from oil, and telling you that non-oil you're talking about, you will not be able to get $40 billion, $30 billion in that place. Even if you do 30% value addition, you won't get it. You won't get it. So you got to go to oil and refine the oil, because this was what they were telling you, so that they can scam you away from investing in downstream and midstream oil industry. And so they can conveniently kill the refineries and tell you to look away. It's a scam. Now, Dangote has come in to show that it is a scam. Look at the investment that he's putting in. Has $20 billion. Did you see it as a foreign direct investment? They still regard it as a domestic investment. But you can see more people that are coming in and joining the chorus.
Interesting.
We have to
now,
be real.
Prof, now that you have talked about Dangote, let's really shift our gear to African economy, particularly the oil and gas sector. I think 2 months ago, Dangote said he's going to be investing in the energy sector. But right now, we are seeing him taking a drastic step by unveiling a 17 billion funding plan for his Kenya refinery project. Prof, we have been talking about Dangote for a very long time. But here it is. The plan is here. The project is here. And it's here to take action in Kenya. A 700,000 barrel crude oil refinery. Let's have your take on that, sir.
Well, if you add them together, 1.4 million barrels for Nigeria, and then 700, come to 2.1 million barrels a day. That is what we're going for. And you will see that within these next 2 years, by 2028, you'll be rolling out. So, and that is not the end of it. I want to tell you this. By that 2030, Dangote would be investing not less than $100 billion in Africa. And just write it somewhere and say, Professor Ken told you, he will be investing $100 billion. Wait for his capitalization to come through. Let's wait for it to come through, because the money is going to be getting there. He's going to be reinvesting it. You haven't seen anything. So if you have this truck coming, why do you stand in front of the truck or in front of a rail, a railway train? You don't stand in front of a train.
Interesting. Now, going further into what you are set to do in Kenya, for you, Prof, do you see the Kenya business environment more suitable for him to get all these things done, just like he has been doing in Nigeria, particularly in Lagos, Lekki, where he has his $20 billion refinery?
No, it's doable. You know why? I was very worried the first time he made the announcement because it was like it was tending towards, I think, Zambia or something. But I was more particular. We should be going to Mombasa because Mombasa has a brilliant deep sea port and it is in the Horn of Africa. And from that particular location, he will have less to spend on the entire project, and he has more to gain because the seaport has developed. You know, when he built our own Lekki, it wasn't going to cost you more than 10 billion, but the moment the sea started chopping money, you see millions and millions of tons of sand that had to be evacuated and this and that, and then the port had to be further dredged and all that stuff to bring in the size of the equipment. Now, if he's going to do that outside Mombasa, you have to think about how you're going to transport them. Those same huge equipment. So it's the best decision that he's taken to put it there. And also from Mombasa, you have Lamu corridor from Lamu that takes continental rail all the way and highway all the way across the middle of the Africa, all the way heading to northern Cameroon. That means that he already has a distribution line for distributing his product. And railway can carry the product, road can carry the product, and he can have pipeline ducts in there. So all that case is very, very solid for him to do that. And then there are also crude coming in from the hinterland around him, even Sudan and then DR Congo, even in the Kenya. They all have some crude, patches of crude. And then, you know, and then it's closer to Arab world anyway, because those people can drop the crude to him from UAE and those other corridors. So it's no longer like going all the way to America to go and buy, or to Russia to go and buy crude. So it's a very, very viable location.
Exactly. Now let's now shift gear also back into Nigeria with what Dangote and IPMA, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, what they have done in the last 3 days, you know, with Dangote slashing the price of PMS price at the gantry level to 1,075 naira. Prof, were you expecting this price to come this low or further low than what we are right now?
It could come further lower, okay? But the challenge that we have is this. Even though, just look at the fluctuation in the last 3 days. It jumped down to 72, then it jumped up again when this man sneezed, Donald Trump. Then it jumped up again when he started fighting.
Prof, go ahead, sir.
You know, Donald Trump is a market maker for crude prices. That's why I said that he's the only one making money from this whole thing. So because who knows what he's going to do next, and so market rates. So So the thing is this. So that price came down, and suddenly when he released all the 70 attack jet, boom, the thing went back again to 80 something, and then now it came down to 77, and it's swinging. But it is not where the price lies right now that matters. What matters is this: resumption of hostility means that the premium on insurance is going to come back, and it will remain as long as the hostility is there. Then the premium on the insurance, the premium on the shipping cost will come back, and it will remain there, whether the price goes down or not, simply because the hostility is there. So that's the problem. Then, of course, you now see an added cost of transportation, added cost of insurance, now to come onshore, and then you have cost of refining. And cost of refining keeps going up because it's all indexed in dollar. So those keeps going up. Then for the oil marketers that are importing the fuel, they also have to add to it their distribution cost. But Dangote wants to reduce this cost by rolling out his CNG to move through Oyo, through Abuja, Kaduna, Kano, so that to push it so that they can enforce low price at the hinterland. So that he's he's not doing it because he's going to earn any money. He's not charging for it, but it's just to de-risk the local storage and supply and resolve the asymmetries around those fuel supply and the distribution.
Interesting. So before I let you go, one interesting discussion that I've also showed on the headline of news across the country is the NNPC Chinese move to revive the 25 billion field refinery project. You know, the 3 refinery or 4 refinery, NNPC has expanded as much as 25 billion on them to revive this refinery. But now, nothing to show for it, but Chinese companies are coming. Prof, what is your take? I know we have discussed this before, but we expect Ojulari to still come up and tell us how far they have gone with this revival engagement with Chinese firm.
Well, I think this question has to be directed to NNPC. I remember that in one interview with Arise, I dealt with it. I gave my candid opinion.
Exactly.
You want to express an opinion. The other thing is to know what the people are trying to do. They don't want to tell us what they are exactly doing. We don't know the terms of the MOU. But I painted a vision, a positive vision, to say if they were minded to look, because I looked at the profile of those 2 companies, I thought that there may be something there. Because one of them is on petrochemical, refinery and petrochemical. The other one is on industrial ecosystem. So I said, if they work together, they complement each other, and then NNPC would throw in the refinery, deadwood refineries, as their own equity, and then make it 49%, and let those people bring their money, and then their own contribution to the SPV could be 51%. And under what vision? The vision would be to create energy park, all right, in which NNPC will seek to bring gas into the park where you have already refinery, so that you can have integrated development of both the energy hub and the other stuff. So it becomes a huge cluster in the same way that I have described the Texas. But then it's a vision. It's only my vision. They will do what they want to do. And we are here waiting for them. It's one thing is to give them an idea of what could happen. You don't know what they have on their chest. So we are watching. But I will oppose any attempt to bring in sovereign guarantee into this arrangement, because we have provided our own. Let the Chinese people get the loan from the China Exim Bank, concessionary rates. Let them go to Sinoshore let them do the EPC, the engineering procurement contractors, because this is going to be tied loan. So they are going to be the one to do the job anyway, and they're the one borrowing the money. So let them do it and let them manage it. So NNPC should not go and throw any more dollar into that equation. And if they want to throw more dollar, we'll go back to the trenches and start fighting them.
Exactly. I've known you, Prof, for always coming out tactfully to speak to some of these government agencies, from CBN to NNPC and many of them. Prof, I really want to appreciate you for coming on the show today. It's a pleasant engagement always having you on my show, The Market Report. Professor Ken Ife, thank you so much for coming on the show today, sir.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.